How's it going, Taylor?
Hi.
On today's episode, we are going to talk about what we wish we would have known when we got started because we learned a lot from our mistakes along the way. So, Taylor, let's start with you. We're going to start with you on what you wish you would have known when we got started or you got started.
So my best advice on that is the cost that goes in to the behind the scenes that you don't think about. Like, yes, you're paying your money up front for your cow or your calf, your bull, whatever, but it's your vet bills, right? For random stuff. You could step on something, to needing a C-section, to scours. On that side, you got your vitamins, you got mineral, all these different things that when you're like, oh yeah, I can afford that $2,500 calf, right? And then you get it home and it's like, this calf needs so much more than what I had budgeted for. So that's a huge one.
So true. I mean, and then you don't think about feed because, like, feed, oh my goodness, I can't tell you what we spend. My husband probably can. I always think that I have a hay fairy. Like, I get his friends that have hay, they send me a text or whatever asking me if I need some hay. And I'm like, I don't know. I just have a hay fairy that shows up. I'm like, I just go out there, the hay's out there. I call it the hay fairy.
My hay fairy, he has attitude about all the hay we have. I always have, do you have a count on how many hay bales are out there?
So it gets really pricey in the winter. Like, you don't realize when you don't have that grass. And some people, they don't realize how many acres they need to run cattle on.
That's like acres though too, like if it rains, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have grass, last year, I mean, we didn't get much rain at all and we were feeding hay all year.
Yep.
I mean, that hay bill was a lot. I'm glad I don't have 200 like you do, because that would have been a cutback year probably.
We've been fortunate the last 2 years ago, it was really bad. I mean, and we were paying a fortune for hay. We did not have the rain. Now that we have this new pasture, we're very fortunate. Very fortunate. It wasn't looking good in May. In fact, our pasture was going backwards, and we finally started getting rain in June, thank goodness. But otherwise, you don't think about that stuff. You got to think about that cost of, the feed. If you've got a calf, if you have a calf, you're looking at calf starter or like a bottle calf. If you've got a bottle calf, let's just say you got a cow that has a calf and you need to give it colostrum. That's expensive. It's not cheap. Colostrum's pretty expensive.
Another one I just thought of too was like, okay, something you don't think about with the Highlands, like if you were into, say, Angus, right, or normal cattle we have around here, our Highlands, like they need shade in the summer. I mean, they can't, mine, I wouldn't say do well if they're out in a pasture with no shade. They need trees to get under. You won't see my cows. They will be down on the creek in the trees at the heat of the day. You'll see them at night, early morning, doing their rounds, eating. But after that, they're down there. So I can't imagine if you had something and you're just like, oh yeah, I can have it on my lot. I can hay it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I factored in that. And you're like, now I got to build a shelter. Now I got to build like a big shade thing for it.
My husband, I need to show that sometime. My husband did makeshift huge metal shade deal for ours. The ones that are in the pens, because they need that. They get hot. I mean, that double coat. And this is for another episode, but dehorning thing, they actually use those horns to heat and cool. And so there's so many mixed reviews. We won't even get into that right now, but we kind of got off track on the shade, but shade is to me is necessary. We are also fortunate. We have a pond. Well, we have the creek hence where Creekside Highland Haven came from. But we also have a pond up on our new land, which it's a godsend, I'll tell you. And our north pasture, I don't know, it created its own pond. All of a sudden, over the last few years, it created its own pond. Unfortunately, it's right at the gate where you need to drive in the back pasture.
Water's good, though. It's not something I would have at all thought of when we first got into it. And now we're like, here we want to go buy more land. And I'm like, well, does it have a pond? Does it have trees? Like, not something a typical cattle person would be, concerned about. They're like, does it have a lot of ground, for grazing? And I'm like, yeah, I also need these things, though.
So actually right now, our new pasture, it might have 3 trees in it, 4. It does not have the shade, but it has that pond, and it has high enough hills that they can get down and use the hill shade.
Well, that's good.
If that makes sense. What else do you wish you would have known when you got started?
Bulls, like a big mishap like we had with ours, which we can again talk about on a different thing, but our first contrapositive bull we put in too early and he got injured. And so much goes into like, one, you need to pick a bull, put your money into it. That's a big thing. Like for me, it was knowing when I should have put him in and when I didn't. I put him in too early and it cost him being able to live cover now.
Yeah.
That's a hard lesson. Probably one of our hardest that we've had to learn.
That is costly. It's fortunate though, you were able to get him collected. Thank goodness. But that doesn't
Yes.
happen. I mean, you never know what could happen. We'll get into also insuring your cattle. We're hoping to bring on somebody to talk more about that, because when I had to send in, my accountant makes me send individual, like what we paid for each individual animal, and keep track of all that. And maybe that's just normal. But I've not been, I haven't had to do, we can usually do like our Angus, we could say we had X amount of, and we sold X amount at the sale barn, whatever. But I'm having to do that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have high dollars wrapped up into here. And you don't realize it. It happens fast.
Yeah, having insurance, I have to say, we don't have cattle insurance. And that's one of those things that it's a gamble on it, but something you need to know if you, God forbid, have a catastrophe or freak thing happen.
Yeah, and you can have the blanket policy from your house. You can do a blanket policy, but it only covers, I'm not going to get into everything because I don't know, I'm not an insurance agent, but I do know like ours is flood, lightning, wild animals, but you have to find the carcass. Like you have to find that dead cow or calf.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, or otherwise it doesn't kick in. So we have some of our more expensive Highlands. We do have separate insurance policies for them.
So, Lori, I have given mine a backstory on something that was like hard knocks. Sucks to have to learn that lesson, but moving forward from it, I'm not going to let that happen again. Taking those precautions. What about you? What do you have?
When I got started, I was under the impression everything's 42 inches or under, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
everybody has cattle. When they're advertising, they're 42 inches, right? So everything non-chondro must be 42 inches or under. Little did I know that's not true. Now, I mean, that was my non-reality that I was thinking, when I first came in. I'm like, okay, everything has to be under 42 inches. Well, now I'm completely happy. I mean, once my animals grew bigger and I know what size they truly are going to be, because these 42-inch cattle.
That's a whole episode.
I know.
in
It's a
itself.
whole episode. So
Size,
it's like, how do
the
we...
true size.
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
them.
that is a whole new episode. The true size is like... Anyway, now I'm happy. If they're 42 to 46 inches, yay. I am happy. I could care less what my heifers are as long as they have conformation and they have good feet and, they have good hair and all of that stuff, or all that good stuff, because when you put the money into your bull or bulls, in my case, right now, I think I have 13 or 14 bulls.
And I think you've cut down too, if I'm correct. I think
Yeah, I have cut down. But Lori has a bull hoarding problem because I want to keep everything. And I also want to make sure that I'm right or wrong. Are they going to turn out or not? But I also have so many good bulls that I don't want to get rid of them because they are something that I will use on some, my own cattle. So it's hard anyway. But I do have like 13 bulls right now that I would use.
the joke used to be that you had a bull for every cow there for a little bit, and then you boom.
I do have a bull hoarding problem. Okay, and another thing is having a good chute. Now, we started with an old one, but Taylor has another story in herself that...
If we want to go full story, people are going to probably think it's crazy and, oh my goodness, what was I doing? But we didn't have a chute to start with, and we were calving heifers, and we had a head catch, which was good. And the heifers are really tame and really gentle girls, but I wasn't prepared in the sense of I didn't have chains around. I wasn't expecting to have to pull. And quick thinking on my part, I would say I'd give myself a pat on the back on it. But I had those like small square bales, the twine that's like already tied, and it's like a thicker twine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, his feet were out, but he was stuck, and it was like 103 degrees. And so I slipped the baling twine on his feet and gave him a nice tug, and out he came, and everything turned out great. But gosh, I wish I would have had a better setup at that time. Like, it was makeshift, hurry up, calling my husband. I'm like, I need help getting this set up because I got to pull it. She's not getting it out. It's too hot. And yeah, I would highly recommend a better chute. And even my chute now, our guy that helps us, he's like, you guys need a new chute. I'm like, yeah, I know, we're working on it.
Did you have a head gate when you started at least?
No, we bought one right before we started calving. I was like, I think we probably should have at least that on hand, because when we first started, there was like an old chute on the place that we bought, and so they were calves, right? So maybe we could run them in there. But I mean, we're talking 2-year-olds with horns. They aren't going through that little thing anymore. So yeah, it was all makeshift and it worked, but I don't recommend it for people. And I felt confident in what I was doing, in the sense though too, of I had seen and helped with calving all growing up. So I knew what needed to be done on that aspect of it. I wasn't scared of that. It was just, yeah, not having a great setup, but thankfully my girls were great, and yeah.
You were very
Calf
lucky.
lived. I was on the phone with my vet too at the time, and she just laughed and she's like, well, he's fine. He looks great.
That's insane. But there's so many different things that I wish I would have known. And also going back to the quality. I mean, there's so many people out there. They only want to spend a couple $1,000s. Well, you're going to get a half Angus cow or calf for that, probably. I mean, you're not going to get, people right now are wanting to pay less than what it costs to buy them at the sale barn. And these are boutique cattle. And I don't think that people realize that. When, I'm just going to be honest, some people are selling crap that they shouldn't be selling. And I picked up a few of those crap, definitely cows and heifers that I have picked up that were complete junk that should have been going to the sale barn. And they probably, I mean, that's a whole, I can get going and going and going on stuff. And I know
it can go so many different ways.
So many different directions on the mistakes that I made buying things that I shouldn't have, and buying things that basically you went ahead and bred anyway and realized that they gave you crap calves. So spend the money. If you're going to do it, spend the money on good stock. You don't have to have high numbers like I do, but spend the money on good stock and have a few good heifers, cows, whatever, calves, and a good bull, and you're going to start off on the right foot.
I recommend 2 bulls personally. As my experience of mine got injured, and then I was like, oh my goodness, we have all these cows to cover. What are we going to do? And thankfully, our up and coming bull, he sure stepped up real quick.
He did step up real quick.
He did. He produced amazing babies, and it worked out. But it's just something to remember when you're going for a certain calving season. If your bull's injured and you don't have another bull on dock or ready to come in, it can get hairy for you, or you miss the calving season that you want.
And then
not good.
All of a sudden you're having summer calves. I thought was going to be the best thing. It's going to be so fun because you're going to get cute pictures in the tall grass. And then here comes fly strike. And fly strike is a real thing. Fly strike, I mean, these babies, you're going to want to shave their butts and put on a little permethrin or whatever on the rears, because we have actually lost one last year to fly strike. And it happened fast, like so fast. We brought it in. When we seen it, this is disgusting, but there was so many maggots. And like, I check my cows every day, all day long. Like, and I check them to make sure nobody's sick or any of that. So this all happened fast. I can't believe how fast it happened with this calf, but you would not believe in our shop how many maggots were on that calf. And we did everything we could, and I thought she was going to be okay, and we lost her in the night.
That's a definite of, if I could go back and do things different.
Yeah.
Stay away from prime summertime babies.
Yes.
I don't like them. It's so hot. Like, it just sucks on moms. They're miserable.
Yep.
Calves, they're panting like crazy. Like, they're bringing calves into the barn and putting them in fans in front of them. I mean, if our Angus neighbor, our neighbor that has Anguses would come in and see that, he'd be like, what in the heck are you guys doing? Like, seriously, they're cows. But
Right?
they needed it.
Yeah, they do. They get really hot. It's crazy. Water's important. Okay, and another thing is BVD testing. And I'm going to be honest and upfront. I think that there's so many people in this industry that are not honest and upfront about BVD. And another thing that I was thinking about when we were talking here is BVD. Nobody wants to talk about BVD. Everybody thinks that they have a closed herd, or they don't think they have it because they don't see that anybody's sick. But there are shedders. There are calves or cows that can have BVD and be just fine and not show any signs or symptoms and actually have it. My vet told me, I'm just going to flat out be honest about, I mean, we're real talk here, right? My vet told me I had no reason to test my herd because she didn't see any signs whatsoever. Well, we happened to get a bottle calf and tested her, and she had BVD. She had no signs of it. No signs whatsoever, but she was a shedder. She has BVD pie. Now, there's a difference between BVD and BVD pie. BVD pie is something that you do not want to have in your herd because they can be constant shedders. So anytime that you have mom or a cow that's pregnant or bred 0 to 100 days, and I'm sure somebody's going to correct me on that. I need to bring my vet on and have her, and I plan on it, talk about some of this stuff. But that cow might be vaccinated for it and might not even show signs or symptoms that they have. Like, it's like humans, they get a little runny nose or something and might not, like a cold. That baby can get BVD pie. And so it's always good to test anything that's coming onto your property. And we will actually, I plan on getting in a little bit deeper with BVD because I have some other experiences that I want to talk about. But today we'll just say that make sure you're BVD testing anything that comes on your property. Also, my vet did tell me that you can't do the blood. Everybody talks about the blood test. Well, you can do the blood test, but you don't want to do it until they're 100 days old, and by then it's too late, but unless you're going to keep them by themselves at 100 days old, so then they don't have the antibodies from their mom's vaccine in them. So you definitely want to do the notch. We have a small notcher, and I was doing the IDEX ones, the IDEX, a notch test, home
Snap test.
Yeah, I was doing those. And then we started having, one here, one there. And those IDEX tests I've been seeing in other groups and stuff. You want to make sure that they don't expire on you because they're not any good then. And I think that a lot of people are asking for the test to actually come from the vet now because of that reason. But we started having our vet send them in. She uses my small notcher because she has a big notcher. I just hide it behind like where the tag would be or is going to be or is. Do it back there.
That's not hard to hide. No. The notch is not hard to hide at all. So like on to like how they can get that, right? So like you could buy a bred healthy looking cow, right? And you could have bought her at an auction at a sale barn, right? Yeah. You could have bought her and she traveled on a trailer with something that just had it. Like they weren't a complete shedder. They had BVD. Your cow was exposed to it. That's where that calf comes in. And they are born. Like they're born. They look great. And so I just second that of my way of handling that. If I buy something that's bred, they do not calve out with our cows. They calve. You can have them out with your cows like before calving. If they're healthy, you've done quarantine, you've done all that. But if it's coming close to calving, they're nowhere near them. They are in a pen by themselves. In another sense of quarantine, until that calf hits the ground, you can test that calf. Or calf test good, negative, you're good. Everyone goes back out to pasture, not a big deal.
Yep.
But it's just a precautionary thing because it can lead to so much more. Like if that calf hit the ground, all your calves that are around it.
All your cows that are bred.
Cows are pregnant, yeah. And they can get exposed. And then here you're waiting 10 months. And then all of a sudden you're having your calves hit the ground. They look healthy. you're having to test them, or you do test them because you've exposed them in a potential way, and you're having to put down calves because there's no cure. Like, that's the thing that is scary about BVD. There's no cure when they have BVD pie.
Nope, there is no cure.
And they're born healthy looking. This is a whole episode, like you said, in itself.
This is an episode in itself. And I'm sure some of the things we just said, some people might disagree with, but I don't buy any more bred cows unless I know where they came from. We just bought Caitlin, which is STR Caitlin, with registered cow. She won the Denver Stock Show. She actually was bred when she came. She's bred now still, but she's out there amongst all of mine because I know where she came from. I know that Greg tests all of his animals, so I was okay with that. But anything else, if I was to buy them, they would go in with my bulls until they calved. And then after that, and they were tested and tested good, then I don't even know how many I have. 204 plus, and that, I think that counts the commercial cattle. I don't know, maybe not. But we always have something bred.
So much of that too, like, you're 100% right. Like, when they're coming from reputable breeders, like, but you get into this and you really, like, if you're looking for that deal, and that's when things get hairy, like flippers, they're taking them all across the country. Mm-hmm. Like, they could be in a sale barn at one side of the country, and then 3 days later, it's at a sale barn at another one, and you don't know the true story on it. You don't know what it's been exposed to. And I think, like, that is so much more where that stuff comes from, of putting that into your herd. But yeah, it's a scary deal.
And on the transporter side of it, it's not the transporter's fault at all. I mean, he's picking up, they have health papers. That's another thing that we should talk about while we're at it. The health papers, I always thought a health paper, that meant that they had been thoroughly checked over, thoroughly, like, had their temperature checked, had everything checked over, and they health checked okay. Well, no. What that health paper means for transport is just a transport paper. It's the identification number to put in their ear to transport them. If they look healthy, that's all they need to go. I mean, they just have to look at them. They look healthy. It's signed off. So if you want a true health inspection, ask for it before you get your cattle. More people than you realize have been in the situation with BVD, and we will go deeper in depth with the BVD because I think it's super important, and I think it's something everybody needs to know. And I think people are looking for sick cows and calves when you're looking for BVD pie, and that's not the case. They can look perfectly healthy and still have it, the BVD pie, and be a constant shedder. So I'm sure we could go on and on forever about things that we wish we would have known.
Ooh, I got a good one.
Good. Yay.
I got a good one. Before we end this, another good one to know ahead of time is if you have a vet that is willing to work with you.
Yes.
With there being miniatures, right? These traditional vets, some of them are just like, no, I'm not willing to work with you on it. Or some vets are like, I work at a large scale and it's not worth my time to help you, check your 5 cows, right? Mm-hmm. So that is another thing to really, I can look back at just recently. I mean, I had to take my heifer who I could not get the calf out, and we had to drive her an hour to the emergency vet that would take us, and I lost the calf. It sucks so much, but making sure you have that ready, like, all becomes all the money and everything. But if you're having to drive, an hour or 2 hours in emergency, or you're trying to get a vet to come out to your place because you have a freak thing happen and they're like, sorry, can't help you. Yep. That's something to really consider too.
I hear your stories all the time. And I also have a lot of people that I see post questions in some of our groups because their vet is 2 hours away, or they don't have an on-call vet. And I don't understand that because I live in cattle. Well, you live in cattle country. You just have farther than I do. But I have a great vet, and they have an on-call 24/7. I can call my vet anytime. She's awesome. Like, my vet's awesome. I'm actually going to bring her on. I just asked her today, and she's like, well, Taylor, I think, heard me
Yeah,
I,
I did hear that conversation.
I'm like, Dr. McKenzie, I want you to come on the podcast. Maybe next episode, if I can get her on, that's the plan for our next episode, is things that you need to have on hand, including like your fences and all of that. That's another thing. Things that we wish we would have known. I think we could actually just highlight that, I think, on every episode, because there's going to be those things brought up through all the episodes, but we highlighted some of the important things that we, think about just off the top of our heads. We probably should have wrote this down and really thought about it.
But it's real talk.
But it's real talk. So just
We're-
remember, guys, this is real talk. This is not scripted. We're just pulling it out. We have busy lives.
Our lives are busy.
And
yes.
But I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't know that they wish they would have known, and that's why we're here.
If we can help you not have that hard lesson that we had to have, I mean, that's the whole point. Like, literally, I think the whole point of this is you don't have to go what we went through. That sucks. Some of those they're kick, man.
They are. And when you're driving down the road and you want to just listen to a couple of girls talk about cattle, here we are.
Here we are.
We'll be on your Spotify or YouTube or however you want to listen to us. We will put our replays on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All right. We could go on and on about things we wish we would have known. And there's going to be several things that get brought up along the way that we'll say, wish we would have known moment. But we just wanted to highlight some of the main things that you need to think about when purchasing a new animal or an animal, period. When you purchase one, you need to purchase two. It doesn't have to be 204, but when you purchase one, you need to purchase two. They need a buddy, because if they don't have a buddy, they get sad. So you need to have two.
Especially with donkeys. You gotta have two.
For sure with donkeys.
2 donkeys.
Mm-hmm. So we just wanted to highlight some of the main things that we think about when we think things we wish we would have known. Don't trust those breeders that say that every calf is 42 inches or a cow that's 42 inches. It's not true. And if they say that they're going to be a certain size, most likely, unless you've seen proof across their entire Facebook that they're selling small cattle and people are praising them for it, they're not going to be that size. Like my sisters, we came from the same parents, and I'm 5'4", and I think Stacy's 5'9" and Tristan's 5'10", or vice versa. But my sisters, it's a size difference. You can never guarantee a size. I will never guarantee a size. I will say that all of my mid-sized cattle are going to be 42 to 46 inches. So that is one of the big things. And then when you buy those cows, think about your feed bill.
Right.
Coming from the feed store owner over there. They actually own a feed store.
Feed and custom cleaning seed.
And custom cleaning seed. Oh my goodness.
My husband's busy. He tells me what to put out, and I'm learning as we go.
So between having the proper feed, which we will actually go in and we're going to bring in the experts because we're not experts on it. Her husband's probably the expert now. Even some of the companies. So I just switched over to a peanut butter lick tub, which we'll go into that too. I'll probably ask Renee if she wants to join us on that one. I mean, she started using them. That's why I did. And you actually contacted the people to talk.
Yeah, he's just north of us. Another one we'll be able to bring on is Randy with Purina. Pretty well got him locked down on it. He'll enjoy talking on it here, so he's got lots to teach us.
Yeah, so we're going to start bringing on other people with us after today, and we're super excited about that. We're super excited to see you next week. Okay, we better wrap it up for tonight. We could keep talking for hours, but we will wait till episode 3.
Next episode, surprise guest.
Yes, I'm so excited. We'll see you next week.
Very excited. All right, bye guys.
Hey guys, one more thing. We are excited to share. We are having our first Horns and Hooves online auction Sunday, November 16th. Stay tuned for more information on that. We will be posting photos, the auction link, some videos, all on our Facebook account at Horns and Hooves. We will be adding videos and photos to the auction site. Don't forget to check out our first Horns and Hooves auction, November 16th. That's a Sunday. Mark your calendars. You're not going to want to miss this lineup. Everything's online. You can reach out and message us, but it is myself with Creekside Highland Haven and Taylor with Hauser Homestead. We have quite the lineup for you guys. We have micros, we have minis, and we have mid-size, and we have different ages. All of that will be in the auction details coming out very soon. Mark your calendars, Sunday, November 16th, online auction, Horns and Hooves. We're so excited. We have got just an awesome lineup for you guys. Check it out. We will have the link listed on our Facebook page.